Hey everyone, welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. So in our last explainer, we dug into testing best practices and debugging tests, right? Well, today we're shifting gears. We're pivoting from making sure the backend code works perfectly to making sure your actual users understand what that code is doing. We are diving into the foundations of advanced UX for Solana dApps. Your tests ensure your code is flawless, but now we have to make sure your interface makes sense without requiring a PhD in cryptography. Now, here is a massive mindset shift we have to make. On the back end, if an RPC node returns a high latency response, well, it's just an operational metric. You check your logs, maybe grab a coffee, and move on. But on the front end, that is a completely different story. That is a critical user experience decision. Do you retry silently, surface a prompt, ask them to pay a higher fee? UX is exactly where technical reality hits human panic. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to map out Solana's unique architectural quirks across 4 key areas. First, the air traffic control metaphor. Second, mastering platform constraints. Third, designing transaction workflows. And finally, smart onboarding and handling errors. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1, Transaction Air Traffic Control, guiding users safely through the transaction lifecycle. We really need a solid mental model for this so we don't completely confuse our users or lose our own minds in the process. Think of every single transaction as an airplane requesting clearance. It breaks down perfectly into 4 steps. The UI, that prepares the flight plan, all the transaction details. The user's wallet acts as the pilot, giving explicit clearance to take off. Then the RPC nodes and validators step in as the control towers routing that plane. And finality, that is touchdown. Breaking it down like this tells us exactly where our interface needs to step up and communicate. Let's zoom in on that first step, the flight plan. This is where you present a transaction summary. And the user's intent absolutely has to be front and center. You've got to show them the human-readable intent, the estimated fee range, and exactly which accounts are changing. I mean, you wouldn't want a pilot discovering a brand new destination mid-flight, right? So definitely don't surprise your users when it's time for clearance. Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Platform Constraints. Translating the rules of the sky into UI realities. Solana's incredible high throughput, parallel processing, and ephemeral mempool behaviors, these are amazing features, but they impose strict technical constraints that we absolutely have to handle gracefully on the front end. Okay, here is a golden rule for you. Never, ever expose raw protocol terms to everyday users. Seriously, flashing processed or finalized to someone non-technical, that just sounds like their bank account was liquidated. Instead, you have to be the translator. Turn commitment levels into safely confirmed. Turn parallel processing delays into awaiting final confirmation. The user shouldn't need a blockchain engineering degree just to buy an NFT. Now, when it's actually time to get that all-important signature from our pilot, there are exactly 3 common wallet interaction patterns on Solana that we need to think about. Those 3 patterns are inline signing, where your wallet modal perfectly matches the UI summary. Then there's delegated permission flows, which are absolutely awesome for fast-paced blockchain games, but they require super clear revocation paths. And finally, batched signing, where multiple instructions are grouped up to save time. But here's the thing, whichever pattern you choose, you have to explicitly state the risks. Never force a user to read through a giant block of raw code. Which brings us to Section 3, Designing Transaction Workflows. Basically building the instrument panel for your users. Closing the mental loop between the UI and the wallet is exactly where true trust is built. Because honestly, a gorgeous interface means absolutely nothing if the actual transaction feels like diving headfirst into a scary black box. This step-by-step breakdown lays out another massive golden rule for us. Never, ever abandon a user with a silent loading spinner after they hit sign. Just don't do it. The flow should always go prep, authorize, submit, and confirm. You need to provide observable handoffs. The very second they sign, show a transitional screen and follow it up with progressive success messaging. In Web3, silence is the absolute enemy of trust. Let me give you a quick prep stage example. Displaying raw LAMP ports to an everyday user, that is basically psychological warfare. A massive, comma-filled string of numbers makes them think they're accidentally spending their life savings. So translate that into an approximate fiat range fee instead. Telling someone a network fee is 2 cents is calming. Showing them millions of LAMP ports is terrifying. All right, on to Section 4, Smart Onboarding and Errors, or as we like to call it, handling diverted landings. Because in the real world, things go wrong. What actually happens when your runway is suddenly blocked by a random network timeout? Well, we have to classify these failures into actionable buckets, specifically 3 of them: client-side validation, like a low balance; network and transient errors, like those frustrating RPC timeouts; and program-level errors, like revert reasons. You need to hide the raw stack traces and cryptic bytes in a developer menu somewhere, because throwing a wall of hex code at an end user is literally the fastest way to flood your support desk. So how do we actually handle these diverted landings gracefully? It's 3 simple steps. Step 1, service the specific type of failure. Step 2, explain the likely cause in plain, everyday English. And Step 3, provide a clear, actionable next step. If an account isn't found, don't just flash an error 404 on the screen. Tell them they need to create an associated token account to proceed and, actually give them the button to do it. And when you're onboarding newcomers to all these concepts, you've got to keep it light to avoid errors from even happening in the first place. Use progressive disclosure. Just teach them 2 or 3 lifecycle concepts during their very first transaction. Give them a tiny bit of context up front and offer the deeper dives later on. Because overwhelming a brand new user with Solana's entire validator architecture before they even make their first swap, yeah, that's a guaranteed way to make them close the tab immediately. Okay, Section 5. Key takeaways and next steps. Preparing for your next build. As we bring this explainer in for a landing, let's do a quick review of the fundamental principles you need to take back to your own interface designs. Remember these 3 golden rules of Solana UX. Number 1, always translate protocol primitives into plain language. Number 2, perfectly align your wallet prompts with UI summaries so the user knows exactly what they are signing. And number 3, always design for observable handoffs. Never, ever leave your users guessing where their transaction is in the pipeline. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to think about. If a cluster-wide retry suddenly delays finality by 20 seconds, how will your UI keep the user calm and informed? I want you to really think about that as you prepare for our upcoming modules on user experience design for Solana dApps and dApp design principles on Solana. And hey, make sure to visit forge.college to explore more resources and check out our full Building dApps on Solana learning tracks. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep building.